views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Wait, we're on live. Here we go. Hey, welcome everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to BXRX. You're live on BronxNet. Coming up on today's show, we'll sit down with one of the community's great grassroots production teams to learn about an important initiative that they are promoting. Then we'll speak to a member of a historic organization that is making an impact on the lives of young men in our communities. After that, we'll hear from a Grammy Award-winning vocalist who will speak about how she's reclaimed her voice in the wake of her loss. Then Bobby C's here with the latest in the world of sports. And then finally, we'll check in with the former New York State Assemblyman to get his reactions on the latest results of the election. So stay tuned. All of this and more is headed your way because we are now wide open. Here we go. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WVLS, and we have another fantastic show lined up for you. You're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, we are joined by the co-founder and content manager of Bronx Film 48, who will highlight his team's outdoor film screening fundraising campaign. And so he's here. Please welcome Edwin Torres. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for having me.
Nice to see you again. How's the crew?
Yeah, we're doing okay. I think we're we've been holding out fairly well during these trying times, but I think we've come together to create some cool events, including the fundraiser that is happening now. So yeah, I think we're all doing okay and doing our best.
That's good. Hey, tell us about the outdoor film screening campaign.
Absolutely. So essentially, our biggest goal is that we're trying to raise $20,000 to bring a summer outdoor film festival to the Bronx.
Yeah.
And so what this means is that we would have, essentially, if we get to 20,000, we would be able to do events such as drive-in screenings at public parks, and screenings on rooftops in the Bronx.
I like that. They just had one in Queensbridge about a week ago, and they put up a big screen. They came, and the kids, I think it was Halloween night.
Oh, wow.
And kids came out and they watched a nice movie and everything, and it was really, really cool. I think this is a good thing that you guys do. What got you into it? What made you want to start this campaign?
So essentially, I mean, really one of the biggest reasons why we started Bronx Film 48 back in 2019 was to really just elevate the cinema culture in the Bronx, because there's already so many places in other boroughs that celebrate film. We wanted to bring that culture to a place that we call home.
Yeah. So how has the Bronx Film 48 continued to thrive throughout the pandemic? Everybody was going crazy. Some people had an easier time, and some people found out that, hey, this Zoom thing, there's something to this.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, when the pandemic first happened, we actually got very lucky. We had an event, we had a networking event right before the shutdown happened, which was crazy. Like the last event I went to without any masks. But ever since then, we've taken everything, mostly like our kickoff event was through Zoom. And we turned our 48-hour film challenge into an indoor edition. So essentially, you could be anywhere in the 5 boroughs, but you had to be in your own home. And we would still give you required elements so that we know that you filmed it during our challenge.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you the camera right about now. And since you need money, you need funds, you can use your power, your passion, and everything to ask for what you need.
Thank you, Bob. So essentially, our biggest thing is that we want to create a culture, not just to show any kinds of films, but we want to show films, uh, independent films. We want to show independent films that are made, that are homegrown, that are made locally by people in the borough. We want to create a space where Bronx filmmakers and independent filmmakers can come together in the Bronx to celebrate film and celebrate independent cinema, whether that's an outdoor, whether you're watching it in a drive-in screening, whether you're watching it on a rooftop, or whether you're watching it in a public park. We want to create a culture where people, can come for free or like very low cost and can enjoy films and can basically possibly inspire the next generation of filmmakers here in the Bronx.
So you need funds.
Yes.
Ask us for it. Go for it.
Essentially, we need people to donate 48. If we got $48 from 400 donations, so if we got $448 donations, we could very well reach our goal to make these things happen. So if each one of you donates $48 and then gets another friend to match that $48, we could very well go over our goal and essentially make these programs a reality here in the Bronx. And also so
Yeah.
that we can keep our overhead going as well, so that we can continue our 48-hour film challenge.
There you go. And well, it's called Bronx Film 48.
Yeah,
How did you get
exactly.
the name?
How do we get the name? So essentially, we in like during our process of kind of like looking for grants and looking for funds. When we first started, we didn't actually have a name yet. We just
Yeah.
wanted to do a 48-hour film challenge in the Bronx. So the Bronx 48-hour film challenge was named before we even had a name. But essentially, when you fill out grants, it's like, oh, we need a title, we need to call ourselves something. So we had a meeting and we just kind of like went through ideas at each other, and then essentially somewhere in the midst of that brainstorming, we came across Bronx Film 48 because we wanted to stay true to our flagship. Like, we run a 48-hour film challenge, but that's not the only thing we do.
That's good. So, all right. So we're raising money. How do we get the money to you?
Essentially, you can visit our website at bronxfilm48.com, and at the top there should be a tab to click our fundraising campaign, which would take you to our Fractured Atlas page, and there you can make a tax-deductible donation.
There
And
you
you can commit monthly, or you can do a one-time donation.
And what's that website again?
bronxfilm48.com.
What's the deadline for this? When do you need it by?
So our final day of the campaign is Giving Tuesday on November 30th. So we have until then to reach our $20,000 goal. And yeah, we're going to be basically taking all the funds we can get until that time.
And then what happens? You have what are you going to do with the money? You're going to have a big event or something? What's coming down the pipe?
Yeah, so essentially we would fund a summer outdoor film festival in 2022. So in 2022, we'd have a festival. Essentially, we would still have our 48-hour film challenge, but we would have the screening at possibly one of those outdoor locations that I mentioned, either as a
Yeah.
drive-in or as a rooftop. And we would essentially, what we want to do is that we want to have a beta test to see how well these events do. So we would have at least one of each of these events, either a drive-in, a rooftop, or public park screening. And then essentially, if those go well and we get more money, we want to keep that going on a yearly basis.
Are you doing anything before? Are you doing anything before 2022 to like lead up to it, like little fundraisers here and there?
So essentially, we just had an event at the Andrew Freeman home on
Off
on
the
the
concourse. Yeah.
yes, right off the concourse on the 23rd. So we showed three of our best films that won our first place prize in the 48-hour film challenge. And after that, we showed a feature called Pariah, which is directed by Dee Reese, which is an excellent, very powerful, visceral, independent film.
Yeah. Tell us some of the things that you're doing with the 48.
So we're a community initiative, and our biggest things is that we host networking events. where filmmakers can come and basically network with each other, make connections. So we can't wait to do that again in person.
Yeah.
We also are, we've recently done, we did a screenwriting workshop this past, in June. We did a screenwriting, we did two workshops on 2 different days where we had experts come in and give a lesson on their best screenwriting techniques and teaching it to an audience. That was a hybrid event. We also, we've had a resume workshop last year in 2020 where we had an HR expert come in and basically tell us what the best resumes look like and the techniques to give the best art resume.
Yeah, you'd be
Resume
surprised
of a
if
filmmaker.
people need those, especially there's a lot of jobs out there right about now. People need those resumes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
up anywhere?
So yeah, you can essentially right now we have we streamed one of the screenwriting events, and we also we have a lot of footage of the other events that we're still putting together. But
Yeah.
you can essentially see all the other stuff that we've done on our YouTube page. You can also look up Bronx Film 48 on YouTube and Vimeo, so you can see some of the events that we've done in the past.
Great. Which film sticks out in your mind that people are most enthusiastic about?
Yeah. For me, I think some of my favorites was last year. We had this film called Double Trouble, which won our first place prize, and
Yeah.
that was really cool because the one of the filmmakers of that is a friend of ours, but he did this really cool technique where he basically made double of himself, and he made it convict like almost like Eddie Murphy would in his movies.
Yeah.
He made two of himself, and he was acting off of himself, which is really impressive, and he made it, excuse me, he made it with his wife inside his home. So that was during our pandemic challenge, and the plot was revolved around the pandemic, and it was done in a very clever way where it ended on a cliffhanger. It was like, wow, like when's the sequel coming out? I want to know what happens next. So that's a
Wow.
film that I think sticks out to me, and I think the audience really likes.
Beautiful. Edwin, is it posted?
Yes. So all the film, you can see all the films from our first year, second year, and third year on our YouTube channels and Vimeo page. All you have to do is type Bronx Film 48 and we should come up, and they'll be in playlists. So you can basically binge all the movies that have been submitted so far.
And for your fundraiser, you can go to your website, right?
Yes. So you go to bronxfilm48.com and click on donate to our fundraising campaign.
Edwin Torres, Bronx Film 48, co-founder and content manager. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And help them out. Donate. And so you can give back to our community. It's a wonderful thing. Edwin, we'll talk to you in a bit, okay?
Thank you so much for having me, Bob.
We'll take a break right here. We've got more open coming up next. Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS, and our next guest is the Prince Hall Grand Lodge Treasurer of the MWPHGL of New York, and he sits down with us today to speak about his organization and the Adelphic Union Lodge 14. We call it the U for short. Yes, indeed. They do a lot of great work, too. We see them out there in the community all over the place. And we're going to talk about their services that they offer, and what they're doing in our community, and to shed some light on the upcoming events. So please welcome to the show, Kevin P. Wardally. Kevin P. Wardally. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thanks, Bob.
Kevin, you know, I always see you guys walking during the African American Day Parade, you know, and all the lodges are walking, but Prince Hall in full force every year. And we love the work that you guys are doing in our community.
Well, I thank you, Bob, and you do a great job on that parade every year. And I want to begin by bringing greetings on behalf of my Grandmaster, Walter C. King Jr., the Grandmaster and President Presiding of the Prince Hall Grand Lodge. And it's our honor to participate in that parade and community events throughout Harlem and throughout the state, year after year.
Please tell us a little bit about this chapter. It's been in existence nonstop, continuously for 150 years.
Well, my lodge, Adelphic Union Lodge number 14, which I'm honored to be a past master of, we've existed since 1863. And the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of New York has existed since 1845. And lodges, Black men in Prince Hall lodges have been here since 1812 with Boyer Lodge, which is the mother lodge of all lodges in the state of New York, which was founded in 1812 here in New York. And so we've been providing constant services to this community for over 200 years.
Yeah. You know, people always wonder, should I get involved in a lodge? What's it all about? They want to know what it's about before they get involved in it. What would you tell them?
Well, I tell them that, first of all, Prince Hall Grand Lodges are the oldest organization amongst people of color in this country. You got to remember that Prince Hall itself goes back to 1775. Actually older than this country in and of itself. And when you look at it, why was it founded? What does it stand for? It fought for civil rights and community action at every level. Prince Hall, at the very beginning, petitioned for the freedom of African Americans in Boston, in the Boston Common Council, at the legislature there. And you look at some of its members throughout history, with Thurgood Marshall, right? You look at Philip Randolph, you look at Charlie Rangel, Percy Sutton, Jesse Jackson. What we stood for is the betterment of our people and forward progression of our people. And even if you look at its members today, look at Senator Kevin Parker, look at Reverend Calvin Butts, look at Reverend Jacques Bragg, or even yesterday, Reverend Darren Morton was elected treasurer of the city of Mount Vernon, and he's our grand senior warden, and we couldn't be more proud.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned Percy Sutton and Charlie Rangel, very, very important members of WBLS WLIB when it was founded uptown in Harlem. You know, Percy Sutton, along with Hal Jackson, started WBLS and WLIB. So yeah, he's a very, very important part of that history. How has
one of his first meetings when he decided to run for mayor in 1977, one of his first organizing meetings was at the Prince Hall Temple on 155th Street.
There you go. Woo, a lot of history there, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How has the U impacted your life?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's probably the most important thing I've been a part of outside of marriage to my wife and the birth of my children. I've met brothers there from all walks of life, all across the world, who've been involved in things. Whether it's helping daycare centers, because the Prince Hall Grand Lodge runs a daycare center for over 50 years in Harlem. Whether it was a day camp that we ran, the Eureka Day Camp, which we ran, summer camp, which we ran for over 50 years. I mean, just the ability to meet people from different walks of life, who believe in the same things that you believe in, who live in the same places that you live, and fight for the same things that you fight for. It's a powerful thing.
Yeah. And of course, you guys are lifetime members of the NAACP, and you work with the New York Cares, providing a lot of help in our community. What are some of the other things that you work with?
Well, just recently during this pandemic, we've held food pantries, and we hold a food pantry every 2 weeks in partnership with City Harvest at our Grand Lodge on 55th Street. But we also do it throughout the state. We're doing it in Buffalo. We're doing it in Riverhead. We're doing it in Southeast Queens at Lebanon Lodge. We delivered PPE to the community, organizations that need it, and most of regular folks. Also, we delivered food to first responders, both at hospitals, firehouses, police stations throughout this pandemic. Every year, we provide food on both Thanksgiving and Christmas to the community, and have for over 30 years now. Think about the different things that we've done. We also, of course, do voter registration. We partnered with Reverend Jacques DeGrasse, and we sent a bus down to Philadelphia last year to fight voter intimidation. We sent voters down with our various Grand Lodge shirts, our swearing the compasses, and we went out to neighborhoods to protect the vote when it was time to fight to make sure that Joe Biden and the Democratic principles that we all believed in were protected and delivered.
What do you think the Democrats should do to try to offset the onslaught of voter suppression?
Well, I think it's two things. I think it's one, we have to be present. we have to be out here in these streets and make sure that people see us and know that we're there as a support for them. And two, we've got to be very clear about what our message is. Too often not, what we believe in isn't as clear. Oftentimes Republicans, the folks on the other side, do a better job at making it clear what they believe in. And we have to do a better job saying what we believe in.
Yeah, and I think both parties should get together and do a lot more for the general public, you know,
I agree.
to help an edification of young minds and you know, all the infrastructure package, you know, all those things, because people need it and the country needs it too. We're going to find more information about what you're doing. And have you been up to Prince Hall? Have you been up to the Roscoe, New York lately?
Oh, we were just there last month. You know, 900+ acres in Roscoe, which was a vacation home, and also where our summer camp was for young people. I was just there last month.
I'd like to get more involved in summer camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Eureka Summer Camp, which was run by the sisters for a long time. You can go to princehallny.org, which is the Grand Lodge's website. You can also go to AUL14.org, which is my lodge's website, but always feel free to go to the Grand Lodge. You can always reach out to myself as the Grand Treasurer or the Grand Secretary, Sandino Sanchez. And my email, his email is very simple. It's grandsecretary@princehallny.org.
Kevin, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on, all right?
Thank you for all you do, Bob, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Kevin P. Wardally, Grand Lodge Treasurer, MWPHGL of New York. Thank you. The U.
The U, yes, sir.
The U, thank you. All right, we'll take a break. More coming up next, right here on Open.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from BLS, and you are watching Open. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking it all out. I have a friend on the line. She's our next guest, the multiple Grammy-nominated artist who has she has a recording out, but she's doing another one, and we're going to tell you all about it. Give her a big round of applause, everybody. Nnenna Freelon, Grammy-nominated jazz vocalist and composer, and that whole nine that she's wrapped up in. She is in the music business. Nnenna, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. It's so good to see you. So even though I want to reach through the camera and grab you, give you a hug.
Virtual hugs. Tell us about Nnenna.
My goodness. Life, you know that saying, life comes at you fast.
You've been doing life. I understand.
I've been doing life. She's been presenting her underbelly. I'm like, put on some clothes, girlfriend. Put on some clothes. This thing is raw. You know.
I know what you're talking
but
about.
you know what? When I say that I've been singing in the rain.
Yeah.
I mean that metaphorically, singing through grief. Singing in the rain, but singing in the rain teaches you about what the sunshine's all about.
Yeah.
You know? So even through it all, I'm grateful, Dr. Bob.
So you can't have one without the other because it's all a part of life.
That's right. We seem to be getting an extra heavy dose of grief at the moment, like on layers. People have lost jobs, people have lost their lives, situations have changed.
Absolutely.
And we just got to reach back and roll with it. I mean, it's hard, but that's where we are.
Now, you had a couple of mishaps in your family, right? People who passed away. Talk about it.
My husband, Phil Freelon, we were married close to 40 years, and he was diagnosed with ALS. Phil was the architect of record for the Smithsonian Museum. He worked on that project for 9 years and brought that baby home. And shortly thereafter had this really tough diagnosis that we we're very sad about it. But he showed me a kind of strength that is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He transitioned in 2019. And then my sister also passed about 6 months after that. So it's been like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, so sorry to hear that. My condolences, and I'll
Thank
pray
you.
to go with you.
Thank you. I mean, it's more than a notion. I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I'm like, girl, you a widow. Okay, you a widow, a Black widow. What in the world? Didn't sign up for it, didn't ask for it, but this is where I am at this moment. And let me tell you something, Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
My music is the container that I have been blessed to put my grief in. I worry about folks who don't have a place to put it, because music has been that for me.
So you put something out, but you didn't put anything out in about 10 years, right?
I was living. I was trying to live. I had plans to go into the studio before my husband was diagnosed. And once he was diagnosed, it was like, you know what? It's not about going into the studio. It's about living.
That's right.
And so that's where and in the meantime, I mean, I was touring, I was doing stuff, but when life calls you to be off the bandstand and on boots on the ground, that's where you need to be.
You had to take care of what was happening in hand right there.
That's right. That's right.
So, but then when you were able to do music, you filtered that all the way through into your music, and what was the outcome of that?
Well, this is the mystery and the divine energy of it. I wasn't sure I could sing, honestly. Singing is a very emotional enterprise. It's very personal.
Yeah.
And I was broken. In a lot of ways, I was broken. I also realized that I couldn't, on the one hand, hide my brokenness and sing. That was like so extra. I had to be honest, and I had to be willing to be vulnerable enough and trust my audience and trust myself enough that whatever came up and came out, if it was true, if it was authentic, it was going to be all right.
Yeah, because you can't go in with your mind distracted. You're thinking about a multitude of things.
Yeah.
You funnel everything down and channel down to just that thing that you need to do on stage or on record.
Yeah. And to pretend, to try to pretend you're not hurting, or to try to pretend that it's all right, like we put on this mask, like I'm cool. Yeah. No, I wasn't cool. So I had to actually go inside my grief and find that, it wasn't all dark. What did Stevie Wonder say? Joy inside my pain. That's what I found, that there were good times to celebrate, even in light of the loss, that there were sweet, precious moments that made me want to smile. So I looked at the music that we grew up listening to, like the Stylistics, You Make Me Feel Brand New.
Uh-oh, watch out.
So now that tune, when I first encountered it, was one thing.
Yeah.
Listening to it in the light of loss was something else. My love, I'll never find the words, my love, to tell you how I feel. My love, mere words could not explain. I mean, come on now.
Ooh.
This is now a love song with the veneer of grief. Oh my gosh.
Precious love. Woo.
Precious love.
Yeah.
Precious love.
So what have you put into your new music now? What's incorporated into your new music?
I'll tell you what, Dr. Bob, it's less fear. My head's already been in the lion's mouth. What else you got? What else you got?
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Have more fear. Bring it on.
I don't have to act like I'm anything other than I am. Unapologetically me.
Yeah.
In this moment, gray hair, whatever. This is what you got. This is what you got. Yeah, I know.
Look at
But I'm
you.
enjoying my life without
Yeah.
having that weight on my shoulder of having to put on a show.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to put on a show. And so I'm grateful for that.
Well, you can tell that, you know, in speaking to you, that you've been through a whole lot and that you want to just get it out and put it in to your music. So when you listen to your new music, you're going to have a lot of that stuff in there, incorporated into, you know, take it out of your head and put it in the record. Take it out of your head on a piece of paper, you know, write it down, put it onto something, but get it out of that head. Talk to somebody, write it down, sing about it.
Right.
You have done that, and it's sort of like a therapy to you, right?
Absolutely. The record is called Time Traveler.
Yeah.
And it's because music has that capacity to take you there. Val Simpson's tune, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, was not designed as a song of grief. But hello, when you look at those lyrics with what you're dealing with right now, it takes on a whole nother meaning. Jim Croce's tune, Time in a Bottle, that was always just a tune. But in the light of grief, it takes on another. That's the power of music.
Yeah.
Music can accompany you and be the soundtrack to your life, no matter what you're going through. And it's really been a space of great healing for me.
So you gave us a touch of the stylistics. Give us a touch of what's on that new track that you did.
On Time Traveler?
Yeah, I got the microphone right here.
Oh, listen, does it really work through the screen like that? So the tune that I just sang, a little snippet of it, the stylistics, that's on my latest record.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, it's on the latest record, along with, I did
I love your voice.
I did a Marvin Gaye medley.
Get out of here.
And the first part of the medley is from If This World Were Mine.
If this world were mine. Go ahead.
I'd make you a king with wealth untold. You could have anything. If this world were mine. Yes.
I'll give you everything.
The flowers, the birds, the bees. And when Marvin and Tammy were singing that song, we were young. It was a song of hope. It was a song of fresh new love.
Yeah.
In the light of a 40-year relationship where your beloved has transitioned, it is such a song of longing. You know what I mean? It's like, if I could reach through time and touch you, I would. And that's what the music allows us to do.
Yes. Now you also, you've done something with your son, I understand?
I know what it is. So he has entered, this is Pierce Freelon, my youngest son. He's entered the children's music space.
Yes.
And he has a brand new record, which is called Black to the Future. And I am singing a song on that project called No One Exactly Like You, trying to encourage our younglings to see themselves as on purpose. Yeah. Yes, you're brown. Yes, you're wide, you're wide-eyed wonder, wonderfully made, beautiful Black child. You are on purpose. You are not an accident. There is no one exactly like you. And let's celebrate that.
Talk about it, Nnenna. Talk about it. It's a family affair.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And music is the way we can communicate the messages we want to communicate.
Right. Where can we go to find out more about all that you're doing in our community and all that you're doing on record and in music?
Well, I have a website, and that's www.nnenna.com. And Nnenna is spelled N-N, that's 2 N's, E-N-N-A, that's 4 N's actually. N-N-E-N-N-A at www.nnenna.com. That's it.
Woo, you got a lot of N's in there.
I got to, one day I'll buy a vowel. Who knows?
A lot of N's and E's.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. That's good. I love the work that you're doing. You have a fantastic voice. I know you compose. You're an actress also.
Yes, yes. You know, you can either wait for someone to offer you a part, or you can write a piece and step into that's really where we are. If you want to be on Broadway, or if you want to be on stage in community theater, sometimes you have to write the piece that features you. You know, a lot of times we want to just get that phone call.
Yeah.
But if the phone ain't ringing, you may need to get to writing. So I wrote a piece. That's right. I wrote a piece called The Clothesline Muse, which is a story about our great-great-grandmothers and how they used to have to wash clothes for a living, but how powerful and resilient and wonderful, and how all of us are standing here now because somebody did that way back in the day.
That's right. And so we have to continue to extend that that piece of work, and so people can stand on our shoulders too.
That's right. That's exactly.
Yeah. Well, we can go to your website. What's that website again?
www.nnenna.com, and get those E's and those N's right. 4 N's, 1 E, 1 A.
And we can find out about your podcast and all of that information.
Oh, yes. The podcast is called greatgrief.com. That's one word, Great Grief. And it's a music forward, story forward podcast. I don't have advice for you, but I have a song for you.
There you go.
And a story for you. And
Nnenna Freelon.
Yes, greatgrief.com.
Nnenna Freelon, Grammy-nominated jazz vocalist, composer, actress, playwright, and the whole 9 yards. She's done it all, and she's continuing to do so. Go there and check out her website. Nnenna, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Thank you. Thank you.
Big up to the Bullion Foundation.
Love you so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Bobby C. He's coming up next with the latest in the world of sports. Next.
Our guest this morning has got a superhero tale of sorts. He's made the world a better place with his sense of humor. By day, he taught children in the New York City public school system. By night, he delighted audiences with his wildly entertaining physical comedy. We welcome to the show this morning one of the funniest people of all time, Lenny Schultz. Go crazy, Lenny. How's it going?
Okay, I'm going to go crazy. I could really go crazy if I want. Let's see what happens.
It would be cool to, kind of bring back some of those characters that have made you so famous. It was so wonderful in researching your career, Lenny, and so great to have you here on the show. You're definitely a legend. I mean, just what a remarkable career. And the journey really starts right here in the Bronx, growing up here in the borough and getting a chance to really perform as a comedian and an actor. Tell us a little bit about your rise in the world of comedy.
Well, I'm born in the Bronx Hospital, actually, and I wasn't into comedy, of course. Even in my young man, I didn't know I would become a comic. I was a quiet, introverted, shy type of kid. And the only way to get attention as a kid to do silly faces and silly sounds and all that. And but never thought of the comedy. In my day, who knew, comedy with comedians? I didn't know that kind of stuff. Here's how I actually started. I was funny with my friends, and I was a teacher, and I taught in the Bronx, Queens, a lot of high schools. But my friend said, "Hey, you're so funny." So they dragged me down to a place called the Improvisation in Manhattan. It was a comedy club, and they had these, you get up there to try out, whatever you call it, And I tried out. They liked me. I had 5 minutes of material. I remember, very nervous. My heart was pounding. I did well. And the owner of the place was called Bud Friedman. And he saw me. He says, "Hey, we like you. The audience liked you a lot. So you could become a regular if you want." So I said, hey, this is pretty nice. I'm getting laughs and all that. So I start coming down at the night to the Improv and studying to be a comedian, getting experience on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that first appearance on the Merv Griffin show. And even that's remarkable, too, I would say, Lenny, because at that time, you didn't have all of these different cable stations. You only had several, stations in terms of programming. Just to even be on a late night show like that had to be some special feeling. And you had this outstanding bit about the first moon landing. What do you remember about that performance, and how did you come up with that bit? It was so funny.
Well, I wasn't a regular stand-up comic like a Seinfeld or a David Brenner, telling reality, telling jokes about real life. I couldn't do that. I did unusual things. By the way, when I did the first man to walk on the moon, I did it in 1968, and we landed on the moon in 69. So I did it 1 year before we landed on the moon. I just came up with unusual, unique type things. That's my personality. I couldn't do their stuff, regular stand-up. I had to do my crazy kind of stuff. I wouldn't call it crazy, but unique.
I mean, all those different shows that you appeared on at that time, whether it was with Merv or Frank Sinatra or Ed Sullivan, I mean, just some of the great names in the business. Is there one particular television appearance from that early part of your career that you think got the best response in terms of the crowd audience?
I was lucky. My material was like middle America, really. Everyone could understand it, and it was easy to understand, and I showed a lot of talent, sound effects, faces, different kind of things. And well, the Laughing, I wasn't on the original Laughing with Goldie Hawn and all those people. Mine was 6 years later. George Slaughter, the producer, started the second Laughing, and I was auditioned for it out in LA. And I became one of the regulars. With Robin Williams was on that show, Waylon Flowers and Madam, and several other people. Unfortunately, we only did about 10, 12 of them, 1 hour specials, and they took us off the air. Something happened with business, money, and all that. Who knows? But if it would have lasted, I would have become a real big star. You got to be lucky in this business.
So when did you realize, Lenny, that you could make people laugh?
I was making faces and doing crazy stuff as a little kid. So I was making people laugh, but I never thought of being a comic. So, and that's how I started with these two teachers that brought me down to the Improv. And I went on the open mic night, it was called. And 3 months later, I'm on TV.
So now basically prior to the comedy, according to the story, from what I gather, how it goes is that you had another potential career path, which so many boys here in the Bronx aspire to have. And that is potentially one day playing for the Yankees. So tell us about your contract offer from the Bronx Bombers.
Well, I was a very good baseball player. I think I started baseball when I was about 13, 14. Around by Taft High School, the fields around there. And I was an outfielder with a terrific arm. So our pitcher on our team got hurt, and they said, hey, try pitching. And I became a pitcher, and I had a real good fastball. And it developed over the years till I played against a team affiliated with the Yankees. By the way, I played for a Bronx team called Corsairs. And I think, I just wrote this down so I could remember. And it became the Billikens. Then I played for the Bronx Cortona Royals from Cortona Park in the Bronx.
Wow.
And we had, me and another kid were the only high school players on the team. The others were college players, and we had a couple of guys who played minor league baseball. I pitched against a team affiliated with the Yankees. Yankees got the best ball players in the metropolitan area. I pitched against them, and I didn't know that Paul Kreshel, the head Yankee scout, was there. And I struck out about 16 of them, I had a tremendous fastball. We never knew how fast I pitched because they didn't have the radar gun then, But I had a real good fastball, 2-seamer, 4-seamer, and I had tremendous movement. So at the beginning, I remember as a pitcher, I was wild. Guys would be afraid to face me. I'd hit them and throwing the ball all over the place. But then I got real good. So then I struck out all these guys. And then the next morning I get a call. Hello, is this Lenny Schultz? Yeah. Oh, this is so-and-so. I'm the bird dog scout for Paul Kreschel, the head Yankee scout. We saw you pitch. We'd like to, here's his exact words. We'd like to know if you would like to play for the New York Yankee baseball organization. I said, sure. And I'm a kid, naive kid. And I said, what about a bonus? So it was crazy. So they offered me, in those days, you see today, there's A ball, A, double A, triple A majors. In my day, there was D, C, B, then A, double A, you know what I mean? So they offered me at the beginning C ball, then through, talking to my representatives, which were my family, they didn't know anything anyway. They were going to send me to Class B. So I was skipping D and C. But then I started getting calls. This is a crazy story. From other teams, Cleveland, Chicago, White Sox, this, and, they heard the rumor started. Hey, who's this guy who struck out 16, 17 guys with that great team that the Yankees put together? My family decided, hey, let's not sign with the Yankees. They wanted to sign me immediately. Let's wait until the next week, because the next week about 9 major league scouts are going to watch me. I could have gone to A ball, and who knows what kind of money I would have gotten.
Yeah.
We got the next week. I played against the Mount Vernon Trojans from Mount Vernon, Westchester, and about the second batter, I dislocated my arm. Could you imagine that? So my whole career went down right there, and they didn't have the arthroscopic. They couldn't fix it. I separated the clavicle from the humerus, and it was a real bad separation. So my career was over. I was devastated. So I didn't know what to do. So I said, Jesus, the only thing, I'm not a businessman. I know sports. So I went to NYU, became a high school gym teacher, and I was a gym teacher. And then later on in life, I became a comedian.
That was part one of our interview with one of the kings of comedy, Lenny Schultz. Tune in next Monday for part two.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Doc Bob Lee for 107.5 WBLS. You are watching Open, and thank you so much for joining us. Our final guest is the former New York State Assemblyman and former Vice Chair of the Democratic National Committee, and he's here with us today to share his thoughts on the recent election and potential policy changes and what it means for our community. So please welcome to the show. Here he is, the CEO of Atlas Strategy Group, Michael Blake. It looks like the sunshine is on your face.
Hey, Dr. Lee, I'm a dark brother, so I got to have that good light right there, But I figure giving you the report of what's going on in the world of politics from San Juan, Puerto Rico for Somo's conference. So I figured your viewers would give me that grace to have a little sunshine today.
Yeah, it's all good. And, Sumos El Futuros, they're very, very powerful. A lot of people go. They have it up in Albany. They have it in Puerto Rico. The meetings. Tell us about what's going on now.
Well, there's about 3 different conferences that happen each year that have major impact for New York in the political scene. You have the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Caucus Weekend, which is always Valentine's Day weekend in Albany. So you really got to have some love to be in Albany when it's that cold. And then Somos is happening in March in Albany. And then Somos is then the last one, being the third, is the days immediately after the November election. And so it's a who's who: Governor Hochul, Lieutenant Governor Benjamin, Attorney General Tish James, Comptroller DiNapoli, Mayor de Blasio, Mayor-elect Eric Adams. It's a who's who of people. And it's critical because of getting ready for the 2021 City Council Speaker race, the negotiations around that, policy conversations around redistricting, who's thinking about running for what, new different appointments. And so at the end of the day, we obviously understand, whether it be Puerto Rico and or DR are clear extensions of what's going on in New York City. So that's why it's almost so critical.
And you always know what's going on in the world of politics. From all that's going on, all the elections that we just came through, what do you see? What's going to be happening right now? What are we going to be working on?
Well, we have to be very clear that when you look at Virginia, you look at New Jersey, you look at across the country, on the mayoral side of races, crime and criminal justice were prevalent in a lot of those races, whether it be the election of Mayor-elect Adams, or the rejection of the proposal in Minneapolis to eliminate the police department. But when you think about statewide, critical race theory, which most people have no idea what critical race theory actually is.
Yeah.
The fear of the talking about the history and the impact of what has happened on Black and brown people, that fear was more important for many voters than jobs, than education, than healthcare, than COVID. And so we have to, as Democrats, be very direct that when someone's trying to confuse you about history of race, don't be afraid of the history, but also use that history to do something for the future. You know, Dr. Lee, when you break down Virginia, for example, 55% of the Commonwealth, the residents there, believe the economy is going in the right direction.
Yeah.
COVID was not a number one or number two issue. The economy and education were. And so when you think about that, the fact that people were going in saying, you know what, I believe the economy is going in the right direction, but I don't believe the country's going in the right direction. And I don't want to talk about critical race theory. If we don't get focused and talking about race as well as records, then we're not going to have a good 2022. However, I do feel confident that 2022 is going to be good and strong for us because this was the wake-up call that you have to get ready for major races.
Is it a wake-up call? Because a lot of people saying, you know, Democrats are soft on a lot of the issues. They need to come out strong. We have issues. The Democrats have issues, but the Republicans have something else going against a lot of the issues, but they're still making noise.
Well, look, we clearly are better on the policies. Like if you say to someone, you know, do you want to be alive, right? Do you want COVID protections? Do you want to have a job? Do you want better schools? Do you want better housing? Yes, to all those different things. But then there's the everyday pocketbook issues. When someone is saying, well, gas prices are going up. What are you doing about that? You know, what's going on in our schools? Remote learning is still a challenge for so many communities. And so I believe that we have a clear opportunity in 2022 to communicate a clear message. Democrats focused on saving your lives and saving the economy and saving you staying in your homes. Do not allow Republican rhetoric, in this instance, confusion around critical race theory, before it was Willie Horton, whatever scare tactics they use to distract you from the real ball game. And if we do that, I think we'll be just fine.
What do you say to the people that say, you know what, all of this stuff is a mess. I mean, I'm getting hit with this, I'm getting hit with that, and I don't even want to go out and vote anymore. I don't want to participate. What do you say to those people?
Can't sit on the sidelines. Can't sit on the sidelines. You not voting is going to make it easier for the Republican Party specifically, and I'm going to be very direct about that, who they're still pushing back about January 6th and an insurrection.
Yeah.
So they're pushing back about an insurrection. They're pushing back about COVID relief. They're pushing back about how to help you. You can't sit at home. And so when we think about what's the opportunity for 2022, with a new mayor, a new comptroller, the re-election of Jumaane Williams as public advocate, gubernatorial races on down, sitting at home is ceding your power. And when you want to put it in perspective, if they didn't care about what you do with your vote, they wouldn't keep trying to block the right to vote. So Senate Republicans, for a third time, blocking the John Wright's Voting Act. If they were so concerned about you expressing your opinion, they wouldn't be afraid about you voting. They wouldn't be making it harder for you to vote. And so at the end of the day, I think we have to make this very clear. You know, do you want to live? Do you want to breathe? Do you want to have a home? Do you want to keep a job? Do you want better schools? That's what we have to focus in on. And we're going to have the infrastructure bill. We're going to have these additional bills. We have the greatest reduction in child poverty that we can think about in a generation. We have the record. Do not allow the other side to make this about race. Make the race about our record.
Yeah, and John Lewis said it best. You heard it before. He says, if you think voting is not important, Why do you think so many people are trying to keep you from doing it?
Exactly. And so that's what's at stake for 2022. And if you want to put it in a deeper perspective, everyone, look, you mess around in 2022 and we have a repeat happen in 2010. Look how hard it was for us to then rebuild across the country. You know, don't make it easier for Mitch McConnell to get judges. Don't make it easier for them to deny funding for healthcare. Don't make it easier for the policies that should be helping us. Now, we do have to hold everyone accountable. We definitely need to see what's happening with Pell Grants, because schools like Monroe College and other proprietary colleges that are doing great work should not be penalized because of the work that has happened at a Trump University, University of Phoenix, other places. We do have to make sure that we're creating more jobs. We do have to make sure we're standing up for our hospitals. But at the end of the day, I would rather rock with someone who stays with me 90% of the time to stand with those that are only with me 2% of the time.
Yeah. Now, you're working at a new organization. What's the name of the organization again?
Well, so Atlas Strategy Group is our consulting team that we've had going since 2013, providing support, whether it be messaging, whether it be standing up on environmental work. Shout out to ACLMA and Block Power and their team around environmental justice, training of the Democrats across the country, National Democratic Training Committee, many different ways that we're getting people involved is what we're doing there. Teaching at Monroe College around social justice. But, you know, this is a moment for us now to be very clear. I care too much about public service and care too much about our communities to sit on the sidelines. And I would encourage everyone, as we get ready for what is happening in this country, this is your time to serve and step up. And so all those other things are irrelevant. But if we don't have a democracy, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Where can we go to find more about what you're doing? I know you're going to, somewhere down the line, you know, your civic duty is impeccable. Where can we find what you're doing? And I know somewhere you're going to be running somewhere, somehow.
Oh, in the immediate, check out what we're doing at Monroe College, our social justice program, our Institute of Social Justice, Civic Engagement in Government, where any student, hear me everybody, if you get into Monroe College and your family makes less than $70,000, you will go to Monroe College for free. Okay? So internalize that, everyone. Atlasstrategy.group is our site, so you can learn about the vision, what we have going. But, you know, at the end of the day, at some point, as in my Jamaican talk, soon come, we'll make a decision.
Come on and give me a look.
Soon come.
Yeah.
Soon come.
That's good, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the things that you're doing in our community. We appreciate you. We love you and enjoy Sumos El Futuros.
I appreciate Dr. Lee and look forward to us getting together for community events around the holidays, everyone. And happy holidays in advance. Happy Thanksgiving, all the holidays that come in advance.
You got it. There he is. Michael Blake, former New York Assemblyman and Vice Chair of the DNC and founder and CEO, Atlas Strategy Group. Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right. I guess that's about it for us. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking it all out. I'm the Doc Bob Lee, and I'll catch you another day, another way. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice. Let your choice control the chooser. And Mike, can you hit us off with a prayer? Pray us out.
Father God, we just always say thank you for another day. Thank you for all you provide. Thank you for waking us up. Thank you for food on the table. Thank you for a house over our head. Thank you for all the things that are happening. Even when there are challenges in life, we're grateful because you've given us a chance to go from test to testimony. So we just ask you to be with us, protect us, no matter what name we call you. Some will call you God, some call you Allah, some call you Jesus, some call you by other names. But we just ask that you protect us, watch over us, and guide us this day and every day. And we say amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching BronxNet. I'll catch you another day, another way. I'll see you over 107.5 WVLS. Love you all. Peace.